Well, the EPA made news with a surprise and very quiet announcement saying that the Environmental Protection Agency has the power to garnish your wages, take part of your paycheck, if it believes you violated its rules. And it doesn't even have to consult the courts before it does it. Here to explain, Katie Pavlich. She's a news editor for townhall.com and author of the new book, Assault and Flattery. Oh, I like that. The truth about the left and their war on women. Assault and flattery. Very catchy. So the EPA is now all up in our business, trying to take up to 15% of our wages. How?
So the EPA is saying that they have the right to garnish wages if you have committed some kind of pollution, some violation of something, say the Clean Water Act or the Clean Air Act. Based on that, they're saying we have a right to come in and garnish your wages. Now, keep in mind, the EPA isn't fining people with small fines. We're talking about $75,000 here and there, $100,000 here and there, and it's per day, per violation.
Ouch.
And the biggest issue here is that the EPA does not really define what pollution is.
Right, because I'm walking along thinking, well, you know, I don't pollute. I'm probably not going to get subjected to this, so what do I need to worry? Do I need to worry?
Well, you might not need to worry here in New York City, but people who live out and do own pieces of property need to worry. There was a famous Supreme Court case in 2012, Sackets versus EPA. There was a couple in Idaho who wanted to build a home on a piece of property that they owned privately. The EPA came in, fined them, and told them they were on a wetland, that they weren't allowed to build there. The Supreme Court shut them down and ruled on the side of the private property owners. But here's the problem. The EPA now is acting as judge, jury, and executioner and saying, you violated our rules, whatever those rules are and whatever those violations are.
Well, they publish in the Federal Register, Katie. Don't you go to bed at night?
I know, don't we all read them? I'm sure they are very clear and detailed.
I'm sure our viewers in the middle of America are reading it right now, familiarizing themselves with the EPA thinks is proper or not.
And that's one of the other problems is the EPA will tell people they're violating some right, and at least these people, even as bad as is, can go to the court system and say and push back and say we're not. He wants to go around the system, say you violated whatever it is without a clear definition. Now we're going to garnish your wages, and you don't really have that ability to push back on us.
Well, and here's the thing. You do have the ability, but here's how you'd have to do it. They get to dictate the site of the hearing without any consideration of the time and travel and expense to you and having to travel where they say. They get to pick whomever they choose to serve as the hearing officer.
Right.
That's helpful. And then they put the burden on you to disprove their theory that you broke the law.
Right, and so
that sounds like a joy.
Exactly, and and you have to keep in mind the EPA is a huge government agency, and they're attacking couples and private citizens who don't have the same resources.
They say it's all
EPA
non-controversial. There shouldn't be a problem. Congress authorized them to garnish wages in the appropriate cases, and that's the end of that.
But one of the things that jumped out at me that I think was the most alarming is that you have Republicans and these pro-private property groups pushing back on the EPA and saying you can't do this, and the EPA is saying, look, this is not a significant regulatory action. Therefore, we don't need a judicial review. So they're cutting out the court system, they're cutting out judicial process, and they're treating private property owners as guilty instead of innocent
and then complaining about their whining.
Exactly.
Just shut up.
And they're giving them another $75,000 fine as they continue to complain.
Just be quiet and enjoy the 85% of your 50% of your paycheck that we allow you to have.
For breathing or for building a pond or whatever.
They only give you like half of your paycheck to begin with, and now they're taking another 15. So we'll have that to look forward to if we like drop a gum wrapper on the street.
Yeah.
Katie, good to see you.
See you soon.